All right, hello and welcome. We're going to be navigating the Durham Utility Billing online bill or bill pay site. We're going to take you through the steps of enrolling an account. And then we'll go ahead and log in as that account holder to view our billing data as well as make a payment against that. And along the way, we'll go over how to manage our notification preferences and the other details that come along with having a login ID to this payment site. One thing to note about the landing page is that the top half will stay the same. You'll always be logging in and making your one-time payment in the same areas, but the messaging down below could be updated in the future. So if that verbiage is different, it's possible. So in order to enroll an account from the landing page here, you'll choose the Enroll button, and it's going to ask for two pieces of information, one of which is your account number, and the other piece is your mailing address zip code. You can use the eye icon to go ahead and view what, let's make sure you entered it correctly. And then we'll validate that account. So it found the details of my account. Items that are required are indicated by the asterisk here. So my mobile phone number is required. And my email address is required. Beyond that, the general navigation is that we're going to be driven along the tabs at the top by clicking the continue button down below. So here we go. Next, we'll choose a login ID and a password. You'll note that there are some password strength rules down below, and it'll tell you if it hasn't met our requirements, and it'll ask you once again to enter that password just to make sure you enter the right one that you are expecting. I'll go ahead and pick my login ID. And then proceed with the navigation through the tabs up top. If we want to review the terms of service, we can open that in a new tab. Once we've read that and we agreed to them, we can click the checkbox and then again proceed next up to payment accounts, which is something you can do out of the gate here, but if you're not ready to add that, you can add it later. And it's also here that you'll be setting your billing preferences. So do you want to get a printed bill or do you not want to get a printed bill? So with this selected, I would not get a printed bill. I'd be going paperless. And by choosing paper statements, I would get my printed bill. And at this time, we can also add a payment method. You do not have to. You could click add later and still be able to log in and see your bill. But I'll just go ahead and populate my data here for my bank account. And we'll see that once I log in, it'll still be available to make payment on. All right, I'll finish enrolling by hitting the finish enrollment button. And what we do next is we send you an email that's with an activation link that you'll have to click. And it essentially lets us know that it was a good email address that you actually put in. So I'll just give a moment for that to arrive in my inbox. Here's what that looks like. It's just a link I have to click. Okay, I've activated my account and now I can proceed with logging in. So I'll use that same login ID I just selected, enter my password. So once you log in, you're taken to the Pay My Bills screen, which is going to have your account number, giving you a drop-down menu here. As we'll see later, it's possible to have multiple account numbers on your same login ID. One benefit of that is, so there's one bank account that I added, I can potentially use to make payments against multiple accounts in one payment, which saves me a little time. And if I would like to make a payment, I'm going to select the bill. You'll see that my balance up or my payment amount updated with the amount that I've selected. It's an editable field, so if I did want to do a partial payment, I have that ability. If I wanted to see my bill, I could use the magnifying glass and it'll take me to a PDF image of that bill that's downloadable. It's also through here that I'd be able to view historical bills. So bills before this one that we're currently looking at, I'd have access to there as well. I had taken the step of adding my bank account during the enrollment process, so it's here ready to use. If I need to add another payment method, I can use the enter button right here. I could make a future dated payment by adjusting the date being reflected here. Otherwise, I can continue to payment. So let's just go ahead and make a payment before we explore further. Next, we're taken to the payment verification screen. Zoom out slightly. So I'm just confirming that, letting me know when I'm expecting this to be posted, aka when that balance will be updated on my account secondary to this payment, and then authorizing that one-time debit. Downstairs under the payment details, I'm just confirming which bill I'm actually paying on what account. And the make payment button fires that off. Here I have my confirmation. Things of note here are the confirmation number. That's unique to this transaction. So if you had any questions about your payment, it'd be handy to note the confirmation number, as that will tie it back to a specific transaction. From here, my options are to proceed to set up AutoPay, return to pay my bills, or log out. Let's stay in the system and let's set up AutoPay. So you can get to that automatic payment setup screen by navigating directly to that AutoPay link, or as we did it through that payment confirmation screen. But they'll take you to the same place. And here it's saying that automatic payments will be drafted on the due date starting with the next billing cycle. So what that's saying is that if I had a bill, I mean, I just made a payment against my bill, but if I hadn't, and I had a bill, and I set up automatic payments, it's not going to fire against the bill that's already there. It's the next bill that gets loaded, then automatic payments will pick up. So just something to note. And as far as creating that automatic payment setup, we'll use the Create New Automatic Payment button. We'll give it a name. And I had mentioned previously that it's possible for me to have multiple account numbers connected to my login ID. So in this case, I've only got the one to pick from, but it's possible for me to have multiple automatic payment setups for discrete accounts. So maybe I'm using a Visa to pay this account, and I'm using my bank account to pay this account, but they're all managed underneath my one login ID. So the automatic payments are set up per account. And again, from a navigation standpoint, we're just going to drive through our tabs here. Schedule, so we can pay on a discrete due date or a day of the month. It's going to be the amount due on the account. And then it's just going to keep on firing until I cancel this automatic payment setup. And if I want a reminder a couple days before that's going to pull, I'll just click that checkbox. It's possible for me to make a recurring donation on top of paying my bill. So if I wanted to donate to the hardship fund, I could enter an amount, and then each time my automatic payment fires, it would include that as well. When the automatic payment is made, we'll need to know which payment method you'd like to use for that. So that's what this screen is telling. And I'll just go ahead and set that against my bank account. We're going to authorize that we're allowing for these debits to be made on the recurring basis. Print that if you need to. And the final stage is just reviewing that. So I'm going to pay the amount due on the due date. And that's going to happen until I cancel the payment, paying down this account using this payment method. I'm also doing this additional payment. Once we hit finish here, we see that it exists. So I've only got the one account. I've got no other ones to create, so that button's gone. But we'll step through the process of adding another account, and you can see what that looks like. For now, let's do a little more navigation. So far we've seen the Pay My Bill screen. Just a reminder of that one. And then the AutoPay screen. So that's really what you got going on up top here. Let's dive into what lives underneath the cog icon. So underneath the cog icon, we've got profile settings, payment accounts, account linking, changing our password and updating username. So let's see what's under profile settings. It's here that you can update your contact information. If you wanted someone else to be CC'd on your notifications, you can do that using that button. Beyond that, we've got another tab here for notifications. So if you'd like to edit your notification preferences, this is where you're doing it. You're doing it from profile settings, then the notifications tab. So it's going to notify me when a bill is due. I could turn that off. You're going to get a notification when the bill gets loaded to the system. And then these are extra ones that you may want or not. So if you don't want it, you can just click do not notify me. Otherwise, you can get notified when the bill is due a couple days before and even a couple days past due, should you want to. You can also manage your text message notification preferences here. And you would input your phone number and click submit. And then you'd get a confirmation code that you'd put in. And that would get you set up for text messages. And the frequency of that is tied to the same as your email notification preferences. So that would also send you a text message. Next, let's have a look at payment accounts. So of course, we could do that sort of during the payment process. There are a couple opportunities to add a new payment method, but there's a discrete button for it. Here we see my existing one. We see the fact that it's being used in an automatic payment already. And we can just add another payment method and it'll have you select which type it will be. Otherwise, we can edit if we want to change the name of it, or we can delete that payment method. Of course, deleting that payment method that's connected to an automatic payment would also delete that automatic payment. Under account linking, this is where we can set up having more than one account available underneath my login ID. And I'll still need the same pieces of information, my account number and my mailing zip code. And I'll submit that. Billing account successfully linked. I see them here. If I need to remove one in the future, I'm going to use that remove button. Otherwise, now when I go to pay my bills, we'll see two of those drop down accordions, one for each account. There we are. And if I wanted to pay both of those bills at once, I could just click this top button. If I need to see bills specifically for the account ending in 003, I'd use this magnifying glass. Versus wanting to see 004, I would use this magnifying glass. Just more navigation. So from here, this is another place you can manage the text notifications. And I have one more thing I could say about that. So once you enable text notifications, that's just getting a message. There is the opportunity to tell the system which payment method you'd like to use. So you can perform an SMS text-to-pay message in which you would get a notification saying that a new bill's been loaded, and you would reply, in this case, pay Durham UB, and then that would use that payment method that you've associated to then pay the bill. But it does take the step of saying, okay, when I get a text message, if I want to pay that, go ahead and use this payment method. So we need to make sure that we have a payment method added for that. Change password and change username. Relatively self-explanatory, but see how they work. Put in your current password, and you can put in your new password. Versus, I want to change what my login ID is. It would tell me what it currently is, and I just input my new one. From a navigation standpoint, that's about the extent of the functionalities you have as a person who's enrolled in an account. And when you're done, you can use the logout button, and it'll take you back to the main screen. Okay, in this section, we're going to talk through the process of making a one-time payment against your Durham utility billing account. From the landing page, you'd click the Make a One-Time Payment button, and it'll show this tab here. And we're going to need our account number and our mailing address zip code to validate and pull up the details of that account. And then you just have to click the Make a One-Time Payment button. It's going to take you to a screen that looks similar to what's available as the enrolled user with a little less functionality. So I'll still have my breakdown of the account. It'll still let me know that, hey, I am going to be able to make a payment against this account, but this symbol is letting me know this account is enrolled in a recurring or automatic payment setup. I do not see my stored payment method, even though I'm using the same account. So making a one-time payment, performing a payment this way does not let me see the same things as the enrolled user. It doesn't let me use their stored payment information. So I'll be having to put this in fresh. Steps are the same though. I'll choose the invoice I want to pay. It'll update my total. I could change that total if I want. I could change the payment date if I'd like. And I'll need to actually have a method of paying that. So I'll use the enter button here. Enter that account. Okay, so I've got a payment method, I've got a pay date, and I've got an amount, so I can proceed with making a payment. Since I'm doing a one-time payment, and I'm not an enrolled user, it doesn't already know my email address or phone number, but for contact, it could be helpful to input this. Have the ability to change my payment method if I actually wanted to put it against a card or something like this. And again, updating that payment date. Got the same posting information as well as the authorization to have this debit occur. And downstairs, the payment details are the same, or it's reminding me which account I'm paying and which bill exactly. I've already made a payment on this account. In fact, I did that to demonstrate the enrolled user just previously. Well, this is letting me know that there's another payment on this account already. So that's a good alert, but it is something I can click through should I choose to. It's also letting me know that AutoPay is set up against this account and just making sure I want to make this payment. So even though it's a one-time payment, if this account is enrolled and is set up for AutoPay or has had a recent payment, it'll still give me these alerts to make sure that I want to proceed, and I can proceed should I choose to. For the payment confirmation, again, important to note is the confirmation number that's unique to this transaction. So should you have any questions, you can reference that and they'll be able to find exactly what transaction you're talking about. Not too much else I can do as an enrolled user. So after making my payment, my options are to return to the pay my bills or log out. But just a reminder, even as a one-time payer, I could still use that magnifying glass to see the PDF image of the bill and download that should I need to. Only options for me here are exit. And that'll take me back to the main screen.